Man, video games used to be so much better than they are now. It's incredible decline over the past 15, 20 years. The entire industry has really taken. It's just amazing how video games went from so much fun. You would turn on the console and it would be just the most fun experience possible that you were playing by yourself or with your friends, online or in person, to now where they don't mean anything. They're just there, right? You're hoping it scratches that same itch again, but it probably never will. But video games were just so much better back then. All the games that you remember fondly growing up, they were made to be an escape. They weren't made to be a grind. They weren't made so that you had to stay on the game for 6 hours a day in order to rank up the battle pass or just get better enough to compete against everyone else online. They were made so that they were so entertaining you didn't want to get off. Not because you couldn't get off. They weren't a job, right? There were no daily challenges, no streaks. You just played when you wanted and you had genuine fun because that's how they were made. You didn't need to be good to have fun either. You just messed around and had fun, whether if it was with your boys or in a single player game. You enjoyed the story, the artistic value that the game brought. Like, even if you were bad, you could still have fun. Man, and what happened to the ability to just pop in a disc and then have it just work? Like, nowadays, whenever you put the disc in the console, you have to download it, and the file sizes are just massive for these games. They're like 100, 110, 120 gigabytes. Call of Duty, I think, on the computer, or maybe even the Xbox, I don't even know anymore, is like 300 gigabytes. That is insane. There is no way that the textures take up that much space on a console. That is nuts. But so I miss whenever us as kids were able to just stick it in the console and have it read it off the disc and work immediately with very, very little waiting time, if any at all. Nowadays, I'd like pop it in the console immediately when I get home, and instead of playing it immediately, I'll have to wait for 2.5 hours, depending on how good my internet decides to be that day, to even load up the game. I think piggybacking off of that topic, you actually owned those games. You had the physical disc, you had to put it in there, and then it would work. Now, you buy the games, and somewhere in the terms of service or whatever, these companies have stuck it in there that those discs are a license for you to use their software. You don't actually own the game. You just have the right to download it from their servers and then access it or play it, really. And I think that is stupid. If buying isn't owning, then I shouldn't buy it, right? But then I should rent it, but I don't want to rent it. I'd rather own it. So just give me the disc to own, man. And then we can get into the whole topic about Ubisoft shutting down The Crew, because that is one of the... I never owned The Crew growing up. I never played the game, but it still enraged me on behalf of everybody that like had the game and owned it on whatever console they bought it on, that they just shut down the servers. They didn't give a refund when they shut down the servers. It was just gone. And I think it's pretty scummy, the ways that companies do that. The way they can license out something that costs $70 that you would normally own back then, but they just license it to you and then they can take it away whenever they want. That is the biggest scam in the industry right now, I think. What's even worse, dude, is that when you owned those games, they were finished at launch. They actually worked the way they were marketed and the developers told you it would work. Like Cyberpunk 2077, if it were to release in 2015 or 16, CD Projekt Red would be gone. There would be no studio anymore. It was just, nope, gone. You release something that doesn't work so bad that the entire community just like dogs on you for 2 years or so until you eventually, granted, they get it right, they fix it, but they should have taken that extra time and actually polished it and then released an actual finished, fair, actually good product out into the world instead of just being greedy. I think just give me money now. I don't care. We worked on this for 10 years. It's not done, but here, just take it anyways. Just give us the money. It's okay. I miss the time when games were finished and there was an actual experience to be had instead of all the glitches and stuff that we get now. I feel like with the degradation of quality of releases nowadays, the hype for these games has gone down so much. I don't remember the last time I've seen a midnight release party or people lining up outside a GameStop or another game store for a game release. I remember as a kid watching all these on YouTube, and I'd look at that and I'd be jealous because I'd want to do it because my parents wouldn't let me get Call of Duty or whatever, or GTA, excuse me, and I would get jealous of all these videos because they were so hyped, and I wanted to play them so bad, but I couldn't because my parents wouldn't let me get it. But I wanted the experience of being hyped and being with everybody else who was so hyped as well, and buying the game day one, loading it up, maybe going to sleep because it would have been 2 in the morning by the time I got back home from midnight release, and then playing it all day the next day. That would have been just quality memories to have, but I think the industry's taken it away from all of us because of their greediness and their lack of effort with the games now. Actually, that's not fair. I think they put in a lot of effort, but they've become so expensive and so time-consuming to make that I think they need to put it out, right? It needs to be a thing now, so they can get the money and all the funds to maybe keep going and make something new, instead of taking the actual time that they need to polish it and make it good before they release it. And the games I was allowed to play, dude, they were such a different experience, man. Especially when you had split screen games, when that was a thing. I had a group of friends in early school, so elementary school, grade 1 through, I think, middle school was when we stopped really hanging out. It was like 6th grade. So for 5 years, me and this group of 4 other guys would take turns going over to each other's houses for sleepovers, and we would start a Minecraft world every night, and we wouldn't stop playing that night until every single one of us got full diamond set of armor and a full set of diamond tools. And we would play on the mobile. We would play Minecraft mobile on our iPads, and dude, that was so much fun, man. All like the collaboration and the lack of online focused play. It was an era where everybody would go to each other's houses and they would play maybe split screen Halo or split screen like Lego games or something with their cousins or their friends or their siblings maybe. And I think we've lost that magic because everything's online. Fortnite has a split screen mode, but it didn't have a split screen mode until 4 or 5 years after it came out, right? It was all online. It was just you sitting by yourself playing with some guy from Virginia when you lived in Texas, and you couldn't see the guy. You didn't know him. Even if you were playing with your friends, you couldn't see them or be face to face ever because you were all online. There wasn't even an option for them to come over and play on the same TV as you. And I think another thing that makes these early games special is they weren't trying to be everything. They weren't trying to copy each other. Not every game was trying to be the next Warzone or the next Fortnite or the next PUBG. They were just themselves. They had their own identity. Mass Effect was its own thing. Skate 3 was its own thing. Call of Duty was its own thing. Halo was its own thing, but they were similar to Call of Duty. Halo and Call of Duty, they're both the same genre. They're both first-person shooters, but they're both so distinctly separate from each other, and that's what made them special. Because you could enjoy each of them separately without fixating on their similarities, like all these battle royales and the same formulaic Call of Duty-esque game modes now, and all FPSs that come out nowadays. And I think in our childlike innocence created those innocent memories because the games were more social to us. They were less competitive because all we cared about was having fun. All we cared about was the dopamine of making each other laugh and having a genuine time instead of the dopamine of winning and being as competitive as humanly possible after the Battle Royale genre took over. Because in Call of Duty or Halo or racing games or whatever you played, there was obviously a winner, but I think back then we didn't care because we just wanted the experience and we wanted to have fun. Obviously, you could create competition yourself and make it a big deal. But as kids, at least in my experience, I didn't try and make it as competitive as I do now. I just enjoyed the experience. But now when I try and just enjoy the experience, I feel guilty because I'm not winning as much as I could. And I think that takes away from the magic that video games once brought to us. I think the entire gaming industry has been tainted by business and the love and greed for money, because it's all about money now. It's not about the enjoyment it brings to kids or people or just consumer. It's not about the consumer anymore. It's about the money that it can make the investors or the company. Right? Games aren't made with that same passion, that same spark anymore. They're made with the financial outcome in mind. And I think that's a real shame. It's a real shame that these video games don't give us that same spark anymore, don't have the same experience to them. They don't have the same feeling. They're just empty, soulless products, if you will. They're not art. There's no artistic value being pushed from pretty much anywhere anymore. And I know some of y'all might be hearing this and being like, oh, why is this guy so negative? But it's not all negative, right? There are some companies that produce genuine art and love bringing stories to life in the form of a video game. Like Rockstar Games, for example, everything they put out is like after banger because it's all story focused. Online comes second, unless it's GTA Online, because that thing just prints money, dude. But all the stories have genuine thought put into it, genuine love, genuine passion put into these games, and they're all groundbreaking because there's genuine love put into it. And it's weird to see that none of these companies see that and see the success and try and emulate it because they found a formula that makes them the most money, but it doesn't produce the best product for the consumers. But Rockstar Games has found a formula that takes more time and it takes more investment on their part, but that formula yields something that is better for the consumer and better for them because they're the best. They're number one. So there's light at the end of the tunnel with GTA 6, but I'm slowly losing my faith in the quality and the genuineness of all these studios. And I think that's why video games will never be the same.